Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a topic that's incredibly important, not just for us as bonsai enthusiasts, but for the planet as a whole: climate change and its impact on our beloved trees. It's something that affects every aspect of our practice, from the trees we choose to how we care for them day to day. So let's get into it. First, let's talk about the big picture. You've probably noticed it yourself. Winters are getting milder, summers are hotter and longer, and weather patterns are becoming more extreme and unpredictable. A sudden late frost in spring or a brutal, week-long heat wave in summer, these aren't just news headlines. They're real challenges we face in our gardens. For our miniature trees, which are already living in a delicate, managed environment, these shifts can be incredibly stressful. The most immediate impact is on species selection. For generations, we've relied on traditional wisdom about which trees thrive in our specific local climate. A Japanese maple might have been a perfect fit for a region with distinct, temperate seasons. But what happens when those seasons start to blur? That maple, which needs a proper cold period for dormancy, might struggle if winters become too warm. It might not set buds properly in the spring, or its internal clock could get completely thrown off, leading to weakened growth and increased susceptibility to pests and diseases. Conversely, species that were once considered too tropical or subtropical for your area might suddenly become viable options. I've heard from more and more growers in traditionally cooler zones who are now successfully cultivating species like ficus or bougainvillea outdoors for longer stretches of the year. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it requires a major mental shift. We can no longer just look at a historical hardiness zone map and call it a day. We have to become keen observers of our own microclimate, paying attention to the actual current conditions in our backyards. The right tree for the right place has become a moving target. This leads us directly to our care routines, and watering is front and center. Hotter, longer summers with more intense sun mean one thing: our bonsai are drying out faster than ever before. A tree that used to be fine with a single daily watering might now need to be checked and watered 2 or even 3 times a day during a heat wave. The margin for error is shrinking. Forgetting to water for even one afternoon on a scorching day could be fatal for a tree in a small pot. We also need to rethink sun protection. That spot on your bench that got perfect morning sun might now be getting blasted by intense leaf-scorching rays by mid-morning. We're having to use shade cloths more often and for longer periods throughout the season. I've even seen people building more permanent shade structures to give their trees a necessary reprieve from the relentless summer sun. It's all about adapting to prevent leaf scorch, reduce water loss, and keep the root zone from overheating, which can be just as deadly as the roots drying out. Now, let's get our hands dirty and talk about soil. The composition of our bonsai soil is a carefully balanced recipe for aeration, water retention, and drainage. With climate change, we have to adjust that recipe. If you're experiencing hotter, drier summers, you might need to incorporate more water-retentive components into your mix. Adding a bit more akadama, or even a small amount of high-quality organic pine bark, can help the soil hold onto moisture for a little longer, giving you a slightly wider buffer between waterings. On the flip side, if your region is now prone to sudden, heavy downpours, you need to ensure your soil has impeccable drainage to prevent root rot. This might mean using larger particle sizes or increasing the proportion of pumice or lava rock in your mix. The goal is to create a soil environment that can handle both extremes, holding enough water for a hot day but draining away excess water during a deluge. There is no longer a one-size-fits-all soil mix. It has to be customized for your specific, evolving climate. Pest and disease management is another area where we're seeing big changes. Warmer winters mean that many pests that would have been killed off by a hard freeze can now survive and emerge earlier in the spring, and in greater numbers. We're seeing infestations of things like spider mites, scale, and aphids appearing weeks, or even a month, earlier than they used to. This means our vigilance has to start sooner. We need to be scouting for pests as soon as the weather warms up and be ready to act immediately. Furthermore, new pests from warmer regions are migrating northward, presenting us with challenges we've never faced before. It's the same story with fungal diseases. The combination of high heat and humidity, which is becoming more common in many areas, is a perfect breeding ground for fungus. This requires us to be more proactive with preventative measures, like ensuring good air circulation around our trees and perhaps using preventative fungicide treatments, especially on susceptible species like junipers and pines. So, what can we do? It can feel a bit overwhelming, but the key is to be observant, flexible, and proactive. First, become a student of your own microclimate. Don't just rely on the weather app. Go outside. Feel the heat, check the soil, observe how the sun moves across your yard throughout the day and throughout the season. Keep a journal of your observations. Note when your trees leaf out, when you see the first pests, what the temperatures actually are on your benches. This data is invaluable. Second, be willing to experiment and adapt. If your old soil mix isn't working, change it. If your maples are struggling, try a more heat-tolerant species. Don't be afraid to move your trees around to find the optimal spot for them as the seasons change. The rigid rules of the past need to become flexible guidelines for the present. Finally, let's share our knowledge. We're all in this together. Talk to other bonsai growers in your area. What are they observing? What techniques are they using to cope with the heat? What new species are they having success with? Our local bonsai clubs and online communities are more important than ever. By sharing our collective experiences, we can learn and adapt much faster than we could on our own. This is how we allow ensure that the art of bonsai not only survives, but continues to thrive in a changing world. Our role as bonsai artists is to work in harmony with nature, and right now, nature is sending us a very clear message. It's asking us to listen, to observe, and to adapt. By doing so, we can continue to create and care for these beautiful living sculptures for many years to come. Thanks so much for watching today. I know this was a heavy topic, but it's a crucial one. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content. I'd love to hear about your own experiences with climate change in your garden, so please share your thoughts and observations in the comments below. Stay safe, stay observant, and happy growing.